Hi, everybody. Welcome to Boulton from Boulton. This is the show where my brother Josh and I set each other up for lively hockey talk. Again, a little bit of a time off since we've been out here to talk to you guys. Obviously, Josh has been very busy. If you've been following Tough Call, you see that he's really busy putting out podcast episodes, of course, but also a new YouTube channel. And he's just throwing out videos like, I don't know how many videos he's got more than we've got on this show and anything else. So you are busy. But here we are to talk about the fun stuff, playoffs. In fact, they're happening right now, and you can see we've got the contrast, if you're watching on video here, that Josh is in the dark, and I've got the bright, home studio going on here. Josh, what is going on? Are you got the lights off there, or no?
I'm hanging out on the deck. This is one thing about having the late playoffs. Usually it's April, it's a little bit chilly. But it's May. The playoffs are starting mid-May, so it was a beautiful sunny day. I decided to spend the evening out on the deck. So it's I don't know what it is. It's 10 o'clock at night and sitting on the deck watching the game on my projector.
It is a beauty. You want to give us a little hint show there of what you're looking at? It looks awesome. I saw it earlier. Yeah, you're just chilling out there watching on the thing. You're in one of those intermission top save moves or whatever they got?
Yeah, it's currently the second intermission of the Washington-Boston game. Actually, it's not. We never watch anything live. I'm a little bit behind, but the game's probably close to over by now. Mm-hmm. But I'm only at the second period.
Yep, and I'm only 5 minutes into the game. I stopped it, and I'm in here now too. So we're going to get no spoilers coming out of Josh for that. For my part, of course, everybody will have seen the game by the time this is out. I imagine most people. So anyway, Josh, I'll tell you what we're going to go for today. I think we'll just get into our first round picks. I know there's been so many videos, people putting out the first round picks. We don't need another couple guys telling me theirs, but we do have to get ours out on the record, and we might have a couple things to say about each that it's our perspective, isn't it? That's what we're here. That's what people are here to hear. So we'll get those out. Before we do that, we will start with, you did your whole, all the way to the Cup final picks that you do every year. Obviously, tell us about that board again. People might recall from last year, but you got to repeat. What is the board? What is your thing? What happened?
It's so much fun. Matt gave me this board as a gift, a magnetic board with all the divisions and it's got a bracket with these little team logos on magnets. So I can move them about as I please. And I basically plug them in and do my whole bracket. And of course, when I always have to explain, it was made before the Vegas Golden Knights were a team. So I used to use the Montreal Canadiens for the first couple of years because they never made the playoffs. So I just used them for Vegas. But finally, Montreal made the playoffs last year. That's a questionable topic. But anyway, they did end up making it because they beat Pittsburgh, but still, the playoffs. Anyway, and then of course, they're in the playoffs this year too. So my daughter, Rory, made the little Vegas Golden Knights. She wrote it on a piece of paper, and I stuck it to one of the magnets from some set that she has. And so anyway, that's why there's no Vegas logo, but they're in there because Vegas always makes the playoffs, which is kind of exciting. I don't know what I'm going to do for Seattle, but anyway, I don't need to worry about it. I'll cross that bridge next year. But anyway, this board, I go through and make my picks. The videos started off pretty primitive, but this year I think I went above and beyond. I'm starting to learn more about video making with the Tough Call YouTube channel, so I decided to have more fun with it this year.
It was a lot more fun. It's always fun, but it was just extra funny today. And I'll tell you what about the Golden Knights thing. I shared it. So I showed my wife I showed her that, and she was like, somebody's got to get him a Vegas Golden Knights, thing, magnet or whatever. Good God. Now she comes out with that stuff. And then also at the start of the Boston and Washington game, I have to add now for kind of zingers and sarcasm coming out of this woman. You saw that little scene at the beginning where the little girl got hit with a puck and Brad Marchand caught it. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. No.
In the warm up, there was a little girl got hit with a puck, and it wasn't clear whether he did it or somebody else did. But in any case, he caught it. And then he signed a stick and told the guy and pointed her out and made sure that she got a stick. So it was kind of a really sweet moment at the start of the game and all that. And so I stopped and I went back and said, "Check this out, Han. You got to see what Marchand did." And then he goes, "Did he lick it first and send it to her?" I know. Got to be careful tiptoeing around with this woman in your home, right? And Josh has felt the wrath too of some of these zingers. But anyway, that was a good one. But what we'll do now then, Josh, I loved your video. I'm going to play now for people who are on audio and not able to see it. I'm not going to obviously include it here. You guys can go see it independently on the Tough Call channel, which you should have go and subscribe to anyway by now. But go on to Tough Call. Tough Call on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and then of course you'll see this video independently on its own. 1 minute of Josh just laying it on us. So that was awesome, that thing there. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take on just the first round and tell us, kind of repeat and remind people, especially for audio who didn't even get to see it, who Josh picked and who I picked, and see where we agree, where we differ, and maybe a couple notes on each one. And then we'll move along from there to a couple other things. Hopefully Josh will be able to stick with us while he's watching the game, be a little distracted here, keep his focus on. So I will say, for people who have watched the video and whatever, that I have all the same picks as Josh, except for one. I have to put that out there really clear. It's amazing. Obviously picked independently, and I saw his video and I was like, what? Well, I guess so. I don't know if it's just that clear this season or what, but yeah.
No, that's just funny. That was shocking when I heard that.
Yeah. Well, we'll do
8 series and we get 7 of 8 the same. Like that's...
Yeah, I guess we're seeing some of the same things, or we're also equally ignorant. I don't watch a lot of the West either, know what's going on. So,
well, that's just it. I was sitting there going first, like, okay. I didn't even know Minnesota was in a playoff spot until like 2 weeks ago. I decided to check the standings, see what was going on, and then I was thinking there last week, going like, I couldn't tell you who they've even played this year. Like, I couldn't think of what division they were in.
Yeah,
it was kind of fun. I will also say that one of my friends, Adam Kopis, who randomly issued a NHL.com bracket challenge with me. I'm in some group with 6 or 7 of my friends.
Yeah,
and he said that to me, and I remembered about it last night. I filled it out at about midnight, and I don't remember what I picked. So I did my own video today based on what I thought. I'm just wondering if I want to look at my bracket I did at midnight, see if it's the same as what I did today in my video. But so if my video doesn't match up with my picks, I guess I have 2 shots at winning.
That's a good hedge. Yeah, very convenient. But it could be that you really assess something slightly different. One wire connected a little differently, and you picked another person, but another team.
I wonder. Those there, like you said, because you picked 7 of 8 the same. I wonder if it's that obvious that if I did it twice, I would pick the same. But we'll see.
We'll hope so. So I thought we'll just go through. Let's get maybe a word or two if we think it's necessary, but at least say who we picked. And the first series, we'll just start out here. The big one everybody is all excited about, Leafs and Habs. The Leafs haven't won a playoff series since 2004. Got out of the first round. I think that's accurate. But here they have a chance. I mean, we saw in the thing, you picked the Leafs. I picked the Leafs. I don't see... it's always possible, right? Because there's no easy wins in the NHL, and the Habs can do it, and it's all that pressure, it's all that stuff. There's nobody has more pressure than the Leafs to win this series, right? Obviously, so that just plays in a bit. But at the same time, I just think they're too much. They really are legit, like this time around. So I don't know how you could beat them in a 7-game series.
You'd have to really hate the Leafs to not be hoping for them. Here, I'm sure Montreal Canadiens fans are the only ones that aren't hoping for them, because they've they've been through so much, and they finally went, I don't know what you would consider all in, I would say, this year. So if things don't work this year, they're never going to work. So you'd almost have to go for them, even if you don't care who wins the series. You just got to pick the Leafs, just because if it doesn't work out, they're just going to be the laughing stock forever. Like, there's just no way it can't work this year. It has to work.
It has to work, and I thought that too. Like, it is true. It's about hoping for them, because I thought it'd almost be funny. It'd almost be funny if Montreal beat them, if it weren't so tragic. And for that, it has to be. Like, it'd just be too much. I don't know what would happen after that, the apocalypse or something like that. So,
and it's not their fault. Like, Carey Price could just turn into old Carey Price like that and win the series, and then everyone would be ripping on the Leafs, even though probably any team would lose to peak Carey Price. It would just be fun. It would be so funny to have it happen to them.
And there's your X factor.
At the same time, like,
yeah. Mm-hmm. I said that's your X factor, Carey Price, right there. But again, you have all those other questions of people's health and stuff. Drouin's not even in. Like, what's going on? They don't even have their. Montreal would have a chance if they had their full team. They don't even have that. I just don't see a chance. But Leafs for sure.
Good chance. Next.
Well, next is the Oil and the Jets, the Edmonton Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets. Again, we've both got, no surprise here, 7 of 8. We're probably going to both have it. But the Oilers, we both got. Why do you got the Oilers?
I'm a little concerned again. Last year I was concerned with the Oilers because they played Chicago, and there just was something about Chicago. They kicked it in and played very well. It was just one of those things. I knew what happened. This year is different. And it's funny because for me as an Oilers fan, recognizing the way they're building their team and what Holland is doing there, I feel like next year is the year where they're going to go all in. But this year, there's just something about the energy around the team. It's exciting. Like, they're just ready to move on around, at least, even if they don't go any deeper. The Jets are not where they need to be. They're just so inconsistent, and they have no direction. Like, it just doesn't seem like they have any reason to win. There's almost no point to it because they're not, like, putting themselves in a position to win. So if they win, it would just be like, what a waste, because they're just going to lose the next round anyway. Whereas the Oilers, they're working their way up. So this is the year they should get a series win or two under their belts, and then next year go all in. The only thing I'm concerned about is the emotion of going through the 100-point season and having that over with, and then all of a sudden what's left to play for. Like, maybe that was just too much for them. Now they're on a bit of a low going in. But I can't see this year. I think they just want it too badly to let it go to the Jets.
Yeah, I think they would get revived. I mean, you get all that excitement and hype, and you do calm down, but then you come back and get ready and go out. I think it's all good. You said there's something about the Blackhawks and stuff. Maybe there's not too much about the Jets, right? Where you know what I mean? Like, not where there ought to be, though, because they were that, but they just haven't been. The only thing I could see with them is that, like, they do get to have that reset where they just come in and go, oh yeah, we're like the Jets, like this team that people thought were good and all that. And Hellebuck becomes him, like, just goes up, besides, oh yeah, I'm like one of the best goalies in the world. Let's do that instead. But I don't see it happen. Edmonton's got the mojo and they're flying.
I go back last year, people just kind of want the Jets to do well. It's the nostalgia. But like I said, the Jets are basically a brand new franchise. Mm-hmm. And what have they done to earn my confidence so far? I really like Scheifele. He's a great player. I like Hellebuck. I enjoy watching them, but I have no reason to root for them and get excited about them. And they haven't done anything to show me that I'm really worried about them at this point.
There you go. The Oil. Say now it's the Pens and the Islanders. We both have the Penguins. You tell me about that then, if there's anything you want to say about it.
I feel bad for the Islanders because it'll look like they're taking a step backwards, but really they're in the group of death. That's the problem. That is the group of death for everybody. And I'm not even saying that, the Stanley Cup winners guaranteed to come out of that division. I'm just saying they're just so hard. They just play each other so well. They're so evenly matched that it's almost impossible for any one team to get an edge over the other. That's all it is. And so I just feel like the Penguins do have those couple things that can give you the lift over another team. They just seem to be in a different mindset, a little bit of a different mojo this year again, So that's why.
Can I put it for you like this? You said that you're not saying that necessarily has to come out of here, but I'm saying you have 4 contenders, Stanley Cup contenders in this thing, like big time. They could all be in the final, and I wouldn't go, "Oh, where are they in the final?" Whereas if you could have someone else, won't name a few, but you'd be like, they're not making the final. So, but they are at all, so they could easily all win the cup. So now the Islanders. So I would normally be afraid of like Islanders more than anybody. Like last year, I think I picked the Islanders in the first round. I was like, they're the Islanders. They're crazy. They're scary. But there's obviously with Anders Lee out, that's a big time different thing because he just gives you that extra element. You kind of play your chess match, hold them off, and then you have him to bring something extra and that extra lift and all that. They don't have that. They got Palmieri and Zajac, whatever. Yeah, it's just not the same. So they do have their chance. They are kind of underdogs. That could be the only thing too, though, playing for them now because they are coming in as that underdog thing. Like really, nobody is really picking them. Where normally I would have picked them easy not picked them, but I would have really been more scared of them. Dude,
it's scary, and I feel like I picked the Pens on my picks from midnight the other night. I know I picked them on this one, but I'm I have them in 7. That's just where I'm at with it. Like it's just going to be one of those series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it though. But for me, the Penguins though, I always pick them anyway because I always just think you're on a Sidney Crosby team with Gino and Sid. It's like, how would you not pick them? But yet I have felt a little bit of shakiness sort of in it a couple times, like last season. I don't feel at this time. They are just flying. The depth of them. We saw their roster. It's ridiculous. Every player in there is like, you wouldn't go, well, you just wish there'd be another guy. Like if you could slot in someone a little better, it's like as solid as you want it to be. So I don't want to go into all the details of it. It's just the Penguins are the one I know more than anybody, but we can go into more details and more depth, but they are solid all the way down. And it's not happening this time for the Isles. Got Varlamov. There you go. You got that thing as their X factor, almost like a Carey Price. That could be the one thing that does it for them. I respect the Barry Trotz coach team. I respect the Isles, but it's just not the same this year. And the Penguins are not the same as the last 2 season team. They're a whole different beast. You want to move it?
Yeah.
Okay, we're done. Caps and Bruins. So, of course, 7 out of 8. We all both picked. No, wait a minute. This is the one where we did not pick the same. But it's not to say that there's any real strong reason either way. I could buy either one. You've got the Caps, and I've got the Bruins. So tell me about the Caps. Make the case, which I will probably just agree with.
Well, I'll tell you what. I heard an interesting stat when I was watching the game. TJ Oshie led the Caps in power play goals, not Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, right.
And he is the guy. Like, I'm not saying he's the guy in Washington I just think right now in this moment, that game against the Rangers that they played where it was all fights and everything was about Wilson and the line brawls and all that. The top story of that was Oshie getting a hat trick, after his father passed away. Mm-hmm. First game back, Oshie, the guy's already like, even as a person who wanted Wilson suspended and wanted him to be, not playing anymore for this year only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not this kicked out of the league, banned for life thing. But anyway, go ahead.
He just shouldn't have finished this year. But in that game, I was like, what are the Rangers doing? Like, why are they going after everybody? Just as much as I hated the Simmonds fight against Ehlers or whatever it was, at least they just had their one fight and they were done with it. And that was
Edler,
yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't think he's fighting Ehlers. That would look be lopsided, wouldn't it?
So like just the Rangers made such a mockery of that game. And I felt like it was really turning the tide towards the Capitals to have that moment where like, okay, they got through that game together as a team. They bonded as a team. And then that whole Oshie thing and they rallied around that. I just feel like they're in a place right now where they just feel really good about themselves. They feel really unified and they have something driving them right now where it's like you just look for that, everyone looks for that press clip where the coach said, it's an easy win and we're going to use that as motivation. I think they have that right now with the whole like, let's just shut these people up. Let's just do our thing and not, like let all all the people, let the babies have their bottles and all that, and we'll just play our game and just move on. I think that's where they're at. And, so I think they're just in a good frame of mind heading into, like we said, a division that's just craziness. And I think they might even be like the calming presence in that division, which is weird to say about the Capitals.
It is very weird to say. And it is true. You need something to kind of keep you in check, because there's going to be some ups and downs in all these series with as the group of death, as you call it. And so you need that. And they also have on top that inspiration about the Oshie. They're already close. They're a close team. They won a cup together, most of these guys. They brought in a few pieces that are helpful too. You got your big Z on the other side now, which you could easily... You might feel differently when you're on the other side, right? And then you brought in Mantha. You mentioned to me, of course, obviously I'm very aware of Mantha on the Caps. Good God, look at my wings. My Mantha, my 50. Mantha was going to give us, I said 30 goals in his sleep, 40 goals on good seasons, and he was probably going to get 50 in his career, and he still will at some point. But but we got to run. It's all pretty good, but that's another story. But Mantha on the Caps, that's another deadly element that's got to give you a boost in your offensive, like how good you feel about your depth of scoring and all that. So they're dangerous, man. They're big time dangerous. However, I'm still just thinking now on Boston. They kind of at one point there, like they came in as fourth on that division the whole time, but then they started creeping. You started to go, oh, they're going to have a chance to win the division as much as everybody else. And then they added Hall. I know your favorite guy, Taylor Hall. But whatever you got, your whole history with him and the Oil and all that, he's definitely playing well. And it's not even like, he's playing his MVP season thing. Like I still don't see him as a league MVP ever. But just he's playing a very high level like guy, and he just gives them that extra level of like confidence in their offense. There's like almost like, hey man, we're not just the perfection line. And then after that, Krejci's pretty good to create something. Well, now he's got somebody to create something magical with as a second like wave coming. And so it's not just that, it's all the other depth, Tuukka Rask and the whole thing. I think Boston just has their playoff mindset, their whole team thing. They're very solid. They're hard to rattle or something. I think they just don't, like the Penguins last year, I think were easy to rattle. I think the Boston doesn't have that. I think the Penguins don't have that this year, by the way, but I think the Boston has that. And so, I can't really choose one or the other. I almost chose the Caps, and then I just thought, no, I think Boston's going to get out of there. So that's where I'm at with it. You have to choose one, and I am giving them the edge.
I just hope whatever teams don't win the first round in that division, just stay the course. Don't change anything. You're just you're in a crappy spot. That's all it is.
I know. Can you imagine if your first round of normally would be in that East, and it would be, you'd have, I don't know, Montreal wouldn't even be in it. Sorry, I didn't say that. But like, if you have them as your first round, we're not going to go there. So, but it is true. It'd be a different world if it were like the full East playing in the 1-8 there. This thing is just, it's a mashup, but it's exciting. I mean, what you're getting like a conference final in 2 conference finals in round 1 out of there, right? So we'll move over to what kind of feels like the West to me. I don't know, it's whatever they call it, but Avs and Blues. So we're all we're going to have agreed on all of these ones. So it's Avs for both of us. The Colorado Avalanche, juggernaut. Come on. It's just, everybody's picking them because you kind of have to. Like, they're the President's Trophy winners, but that's not the end of the argument. But they deserve to be. They were Cup contender last year. You would have thought they might have won the Cup last year. They're in that zone. They're good for several years to be that. And so this year, next year, whatever, I'll be saying, yep, Colorado probably. But it also depends on what they put together each season on that. But this season, they put it together. There's no reason. There's no holes in it. I don't see what you got. And then the Nate Dogg's coming back. He's flying. He's going to be flying. And everybody obviously wants to see if he can repeat what he did last year or raise it. Imagine that. So very exciting times in Colorado. The Blues, obviously, similar thing where it's just like the Isles or something. It's like they're a good, solid team. You don't want to go against them. You heard O'Reilly coming out with, we will win the series or whatever, right? I don't know if that sounds like the guarantee, but he says we're going to beat them. I mean, they're trying to at least put up a confident front, and they really have reason to be. So it's very difficult, but what are you going to do with the Avs?
The Blues won the cup a couple of years ago. Whatever, they were in last place, and then they won the cup. Now they're in fourth place this year. Like, what's their deal? Pick a team.
You mean, who are you going to be? What?
Play consistently.
Yeah.
What are they doing to themselves?
I don't know.
They're not there. The Avs are just, excuse me, we've done our homework. We've followed the pattern. This is our time to move up a little bit longer. You're done. Get out of our way. We're moving on.
We are moving on. Golden Knights and Wild. We both got the Golden Knights. I think that's another one where you could have easily had a President's Trophy winner right there. They're another juggernaut, just looking like, I mean, they're a lot of people picking them to be the cup favorites, so I don't see any reason why they're going to have a problem with Minnesota. You mentioned a while ago other times that Minnesota is this team that you just don't, it's like, what are they? They're there, but they never go the next step, but then they're never down. It's like, what? They're like,
they've been 6th to 10th place for their entire existence. Like, make a move or throw the whole thing apart and start over. Do something.
At least excite us somehow, right?
What is happening there?
I don't know what's happening there. But I don't think it's happening anywhere, moving them anywhere this playoff. I mean, the Golden Knights are too much. And Marc-Andre, how about that, by the way? Go ahead.
Everybody wants a Colorado-Vegas series in the second round. Who wouldn't want that? Why would St. Louis or Minnesota want to take that away from everybody? Play your role.
Yeah. Well, how about this? We'll have more to go ahead.
I said just roll over. Play your role, roll over, move on. give the people what they want.
That's what we'll do. So we won't go into any more details about what we'll have more to say about all these teams as the playoffs go and stories will emerge, and we'll see what's what. But I say, the hockey gods, for the sake of what people want, just let it happen. Play your role, play your part. The Canes and the Preds, we've both got the Canes, and and I know that hurts a little bit. Everett your son loves the Preds, and I know you were pulling for them to get into the playoffs and pull ahead and all that. They got in, but you had to pick against them. What's up with that?
Well, you had fear of Rick Tocchet as a reason Arizona would win, and
last year. I just think this Rick Tocchet coached Arizona team, I think he's gonna scare them into not losing. What can you say? Again, this is a very tight one. Rick Tocchet, oh man, that team, I wouldn't want to play Arizona. I'm calling them. Call the Coyotes. What do you got?
So just to summarize, you have Arizona because they're going to be too afraid to lose for fear of Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, this is top level analytics on the show, everybody. This is what you're getting, all right, when you tune in here, right? Rick Tocchet, fearful. Boys are not losing.
And I just feel like, how could you possibly justify, if you're the Canes, in this point of your development and team building, where you're at right now, how could you look Rod Brind'Amour in the eyes if you don't beat the Preds in the first round here? You can't. You cannot walk into his office or show up to the rink ever again. If you lose, you just go to the locker room and just keep on walking. And it's not that it was that bad. It's just that that's where Carolina is. They need to go further. They need to do it for him. He's done too much for that team. He handles himself too well. You got to do it for him.
Rod the Bod, fear of Rod Brind'Amour. I showed a picture of him one time. I forget what it was to Jason one time, my friend. He was just like, that looks like if you looked up hockey player in the dictionary, that's the face you should see, right? And of course, I can see how it would be intimidating. You don't want to let him down, but it's way more than that. Fear of Rod Brind'Amour. It's like they're another, you have to call them a juggernaut. Like, they're deep. Like, you don't really see it, but those guys are superstars, those Snezhnikov and Aho and all that. And then they're deeper beyond that. And they just have it all. Like, they're a solid team. They were another one who really came close to the President's Trophy. And I don't know, they won the division. Like, what are you going to do? I mean, give it to them, right? Like, it's just, again, quietly did it somehow. But there they are. So I don't know how the Preds are going to match up. They got in. good for them. But what do you like? You don't look at them and see anything that's, 10 years ago, you had Pecorino was a real like series stealer and all that. They got now they have Saros, and actually he's a big reason why they got in it all anyway, right? Like it seems to be, because I don't see much else going on in the Preds. So goaltending, they do have that, but I mean, he'll have to stand on his head. I would say I don't see how you're going to match up against that.
The Preds are too streaky. They can score a lot of goals, but they can't do it too consistently enough. And Carolina's a team where if you take one shift off, they can capitalize. It's just you could outplay them for 58 minutes, and then they have 2 minutes where they just are all over you and score, and it's over, and you just walk away wondering what just happened. And that's just going to be too hard in a 7-game series for Nashville to compete with.
All right, so there it is. You got it from here. Hurricanes, Panthers and Lightning. Now this is a crazy one, right? They were going back and forth. It looked like they might win the division, either of them. Then they were like second and third. It's like, who's going to get home ice and all this stuff. And it turned into the chips fell or whatever at the end. And it was Panthers with the home ice, if I'm correct. I just that's what I've got. That's what I've got here on the card that I wrote down. So referring there, but we both picked the Lightning. Why did you pick the Lightning?
I just think they're very deep. I love Huberdeau. Love watching him play. I don't mind Florida as a team. I think it's going to be a very exciting series, but I just think Tampa is too deep to handle in waves. And the thing that they have going for them is they've actually played pretty poorly in the last month and a half. Tampa has. But they've just got the goaltending that it just carries them. That's what happened. They've won a lot of hockey games in the last month just on their goalie alone. And I know you can't do that for an entire playoffs, but I mean, they're also just getting their full roster back too. They're ready to roll. They're going to get into a rhythm, and they're feeling it. And if you have that solid goalie that you can just count on, where you can take a risk or two. If you got Tampa taking a risk or two with the skill set they have, they're gonna eventually have some success, right? And Florida, as good a team as they are, they're just I think they're steady. They're not gonna have those streaks to counter whatever Tampa throws at them in waves. Even if Tampa goes quiet for a bit, they're eventually gonna wake up and just come on. And I just don't think Florida has that next level to handle that in a 7-game series.
I'm with you, everything, man. Best goalie in the world, Andre Vasilevsky, said it right here. I don't care. I mean, good goalies out there. I mean, especially the league these days, there really are a lot of top-end goalies who you just say, I feel really good with that guy in my net. But he is somehow distinguished himself among that group even. He's something, right? And he gives them that confidence. You did mention the pickups, like their team. They're just getting their team back together. Everybody's mentioned this, but we have to mention it. If somebody is living in a cave or something, Kucherov is playing, right? I mean, he's coming back in it. Stammer's back. You kidding me? Like, so they're already a top team. We're really fighting for that division title without Kucherov all year. Now they're bringing him in. Come on. They're the Stanley Cup champions, by the way. We're just going to remember that. And very quite expectedly went ahead and just did what they were supposed to do. They're still that same team. That's what I said last year. They're still the same team that got knocked out. And then here they are. Why would you not expect them to be it again? And then they did it. It's kind of, again, they're just another one. I'm not saying I'm picking them for the cup, but they're just in that group of, they are the contenders for the cup. They're one of those ones that are like, yep, I can't really argue against that. So
right.
In the early series, you got to give it as much as good as the Panthers are. But it's going to be a beauty. This one is like, they've had it all year. They're heated. They're not very, they don't like each other at the moment, which is exciting. There's lots of awesome stuff going on, by the way, in general in the league. Why don't we get into a couple of things before we move on? But let's just say one more time, that's the Lightning from us coming out of here. There's your first round picks. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments section. Get on the comments and let us know what your picks are. And have we hit all the same ones? And do you see something different than us? But I want to move ahead to just a few points before we get us out of here. Josh, we won't go on all day about too many things. One of them is about the regular season still going on. What do you think about that? You love it, right?
Oh, it's just fantastic. Everybody wants to a little preview before the game one tonight had to be the Oilers and Canucks and the Oilers' last regular season game. That was a good time. It's nice to know I have to wait till Wednesday for them to play game one. And Calgary and Vancouver have to play each other 3 more times the next week. When you have to do a schedule up and you put it on your app and you have to indicate whether it's a playoff game or a regular season game when you're scheduling it in, that's stupid. Mm-hmm. And I know why they have to finish the regular season. I get that. So just wait and have the playoffs afterwards. Let every team start at the same time. It is nonsense.
It is nonsense. Yeah, I don't... Go ahead.
What happens if this is a sweep? It could almost be over before a couple teams play their first game. Then you're going to have to wait anyway. So why not just make them wait now and start the playoffs fresh?
Yeah. I don't really have anything hard to say about this. I just don't. Yeah, I don't like it. It's a lot of stuff has happened that I have hated over the past year and a half. In hockey and beyond, and that's just I think is ridiculous. And of course, things look a lot different for everybody in a lot of situations. In hockey, it's looked. I mean, last year we had no fans the whole time and all that, and we went through it all. This is one thing that looks weird. I don't know. I wish it could be different. It's not, and I don't like the look of it. But I don't know what they could have done. But start the playoffs after.
I could maybe get over them starting the first round, but if they start any of the second round before the first round is over, I might not watch.
Okay, I mean if they start second round before first round is over, not regular season versus.
It carries on, and they realize a couple teams are ready to start round 2, and they start a round 2 game before the first round's over. Like I said, I might turn it off. I might be done watching for the summer.
Yeah, that to me, people who are in the same competition who get to have to start while something's already going on, there's going to be some problems there. Ultimately, I can't be having that either. But anyway, it is annoying. But I don't know is anybody going to watch Calgary and Vancouver for 3 games? I'm not. I mean, whatever. I'll just check out and see what. I don't know. I'm not even going to check to see what happened. I don't know. The season's over.
Vancouver could maybe catch Calgary for a place and screw themselves in a draft pick. Who cares? What are we going to watch Matthew Tkachuk throw 3 more butt checks this year? That's all that we're going to get out of it.
All righty, then. Let's move on here. Here's something else that was kind of funny that I looked on that article and 16 sports writers or NHL.com writers picked their picks, whatever, and 9 out of 16 of them picked Colorado for the Cup, and then 5 of them picked Vegas. So you can see how strong those picks are for everybody. 1 picked Carolina, and then one guy, William Douglas, picked the Toronto Maple Leafs. I shared it to you, and they also picked their Conn Smythe winners at the bottom. So he picked the Leafs to win the Cup, which there's a semi case there. He also picked Wayne Simmonds for the Conn Smythe. Now, what do you have to say about that?
Listen, Wayne Simmonds, and I wasn't even kidding. If you were going to look at the MVP of the Toronto Maple Leafs for the regular season, is there anybody that made more of a difference than Wayne Simmonds as far as being not necessarily contributing in any certain way, but adding that value where all of a sudden the top players play differently when he's in the lineup? I'm going to say that. He has given them the space and the time. He's done everything he's needed to all of a sudden make them play bigger. But if you're winning a Stanley Cup and that contribution is greater than what you're paying those top 5 to do, then you're not winning the Cup. There's no possible way that as great a things as Wayne Simmonds does and as much value as he has to the team, I can't stress enough how important he is to that lineup. He's not more important than that core 4 at least.
Right. He'll be what I call... Go.
No, please.
He'll be what I've been called on another show, and in my life I've often referred to the indispensables versus the most valuable, right? So the indispensables are what you need to win a cup. You need Wayne Simmonds. It's a pivotal piece. If you don't have it, you don't win, but that doesn't make you a Conn Smythe. And I said to Jason already, I was like, if they're winning the Stanley Cup, right? If they're going to do that, it has to be Austin Matthews has to be the MVP for them, or else they're not doing it. Like, or somebody else like Tavares goes crazy, or Marner's is that much better than like really integral to making Matthews be that good. Whatever it is, or a goalie might have to become your MVP. But one of those is gonna be the MVP if you're gonna win the cup. There's no way that he shines, like you said. If that element is bigger than your other elements, then you're not going to get out of the first round almost, right? Like, maybe the first round. So there's no way he can get the Conn Smythe. I don't understand that. I wonder if that's like a Claude Lemieux thing, maybe. Like he was scoring big, like more. He had the most goals on the team. So forget that. That's not even. I just thought that for half a second, and I shut down my own idea. It can't. It's nobody who's been a Conn Smythe at that level of contribution, which is again not unvaluable. Right? Very valuable. In fact, if you don't have it, you don't win. But that doesn't make just because you're indispensable doesn't make you the MVP.
Exactly. That's a perfect way of wording it. Because I do not want to take anything away from what Wayne Simmonds has done for that team this year at all. Sure. That's what we're saying. We're saying he's vital. He's a great
hands up.
Like I'm telling you. But your top guys need to be your top guys. That's how it is.
That's a cliche that is true. If they're not, you're not winning, right? So anyway, so thanks, William Douglas, for that chuckle the other day. I mean, it was more than a chuckle. I just sent a bunch of ha's with it to the thing. I couldn't believe that he was saying that.
I was told to George Costanza when you said that. Need some water here.
It was a George Costanza. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like that guy, I don't know if he was clickbaiting or what he was doing, but we'll see. Now, can you imagine? Win the cup, Conn Smythe MVP. I guess I'll have to eat my hat or something, and I'll call up William Douglas and give everything to him.
Wins the Conn Smythe. It's because he did something pretty friggin' special to the point where you'd be fine saying, you know what, I was wrong. I can't believe I got to watch whatever he just did throughout this entire playoffs.
Yeah, like what kind of inside information did William Douglas got that on the pulse on that team that he knows that's what has to happen, Then I'll say, wow, how did you do it? Right. But
William Douglas, buddy. Yeah. We'll take you out to dinner somehow.
Big time. I guess the last thing on my agenda here was just about the home ice stuff, like just in general, how important is home ice? I saw some guys talking about it on one of the shows, and I thought about it too already. I was kind of like, just what's happening for this? Obviously, in Canadian, the North Division, right? You don't really feel much of it and all that. And then other teams though are starting to add players in the building, which is exciting, right? You had. I just use examples I know, but the Penguins had like 4,800, 25% capacity for a last long while. Now they're going to get to upgrade to 50%, which is 9,000 people in the building. That's something when you go into the Penguins arena, PPG Paints Arena, and then play them. It's big, right? Yeah. And that's a lot of P's, right? The Igloo was cool, but PPG Paints Arena for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Anyway.
Come on. People are worried about helmets. The arena's named that.
Yeah, I know.
You work with helmet advertising? Come on.
So, yeah, exactly. You're right. But so you have that, and that's going to be a big thing. And then other teams are mostly going to have it. But the whole thing for me, and I guess this is going to be something to talk about later on, but I just want to throw it out early, is because when the North teams do, it seems very most likely that they're going to get one of these host cities in the States and play out of there. But when I heard, you know what I'm talking about? Like that kind of idea?
I know what you're talking about. I'm just not happy.
Yeah, but it just seems like the most likely thing that's going to happen, right? Like I don't see how they're going to go back and forth. But if they do that, that also opens the door though for fans. But it's not just like, oh, if it's a host city here, the people in that city. It's like if the Leafs make it out of the North or something. Can you imagine what kind of like Leaf fans are crazy, right? They'll go to Florida. They'll come to Korea if they're playing over in here, right? To like go see them. So I'm just curious to see what happens in that case, because one Canadian team is making it. We know that. They're making a semifinal, and they're going to play out of one of these cities very likely. Let's assume that. Some Canadian people are buying tickets and going there. And the fans of that team, if it's going to be the Oilers or the Leafs, or let's say it's the Jets that had, somebody is going there. And I'm just curious to see what happens there. I think it's exciting. They could be in a home game in a thing, but it'll be a lot of their people, rabid people.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's just something I wanted to bring up early. I guess, like I said, it'll develop as we go along, and we'll know way more about it and a lot more to say about it. But just early on, I'm just projecting. If it were the Leafs, how crazy it would be. People trying to get tickets to go to Buffalo or to go to, I don't know if that's a city. I just don't know why I imagine that. I think maybe the Jays play there or something. I don't know. Like,
this is a city.
It is a city, and it just seems like somewhere nearby, but whatever. Maybe that's why, the Jays. But anyway, so people will go. But anyway, it's very exciting. And if it's the Oilers, same thing. I wonder what's going to happen. Like, who would be trying to go for that? Like, anyway, Connor McD would be selling some tickets up in that city. They'd be vying for it. Right. So anything on the fans, anything like that, Josh, before we get out of here?
No, as a fan who watches on television, I'm glad they finally started to stagger the schedules a little bit instead of having all the games start at the same time and be on intermission at the same time. This is fun. Yeah, they got like tomorrow's like 1 and 4 and something else. Now I know there's a stupid regular season game in there somewhere, but whatever.
Well, Josh is giving that's something because he always have a problem with the schedule maker, and you're giving him a little bit of props here. So very good. Take what you can get. And anyway, and I'll say I said I was 5 minutes into this first game, the Boston and Washington game, but I saw some pace, some action, and even the few people in there. It was different than last year when we were watching these games and they had those things. We were trying to give them credit for making it look good and all that, but there's nothing like seeing the people there and the energy of it, and already the speed and the skill, like just like the passing, everything that was moving, click, click. It just looked so good, and of course, big hits already early on. Just a lot of energy and passion in it. So I was like, this is way better than anything I've seen so far this season in 5 minutes. So I'm just looking forward too much to it.
Now, again, that is the group of death. Game 1 might be a little different than other groups, but I love the start. Yeah, it's been a great start. Now, one thing I do want to point out, Tom Wilson scores the first goal of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh, is that right? I'll take that spoiler.
Play.
Right. He shouldn't have been playing. Yeah.
He shouldn't even play. He shouldn't be playing right now. And he's going to go ahead and score the first goal of the whole playoffs. That's just beautiful for him. Like, if you're a Wilson fan, like, that's just the gift that everyone, anytime you say something about Tom Wilson online, someone will post the image of him with holding the cup over his head and saying rent free. And it's like, so that's like the ultimate, like, scoring the first goal of the playoffs is just the ultimate Tom Wilson dagger, because he's good enough to do it. It's a first-time player for a reason. But just stop. Just play. Just do that. If you do that, the rest of the playoffs will lay off. Just keep going.
Well, so Tom's kicked it off then, and we'll see what happens from there, because it is promising to be very exciting, especially given how starving we are. It's like a starving person give him a cracker. They think it's the best. Like Eddie Murphy saying, "This is the best cracker I've ever in my life." You doing that? So this is beyond. It's already good, and like I said, that's like a conference final, Boston and Washington first round, and we're getting it right away. So I want to go watch it. So let me go watch it now. You go continue watching on your deck. That is the best setup ever. I wish I were there. And everybody else, enjoy these playoffs. We'll be talking to you soon as stuff develops. See you later.
There was one danger to watching the game outside. There was a spider on the siding, and I thought it was the puck. I was very confused why it wasn't offside. And the puck was already in the zone. It was a spider hanging out in the neutral zone. That is a Josh Boulton goal.